Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Paul K. Lemire, and this is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from, of course, the studios of 4680Q Radio in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And there it is, Your City, Your Voice, Paul K. Lemire. I got my Doge shirt on because today we're talking about the operations budget. That's right. This is the day I'm going to start talking about this budget. I'm going to go through everything that I read. There's 196 pages of it. And there's also another, 80 pages of other stuff. And some of them explanations about what they're doing and how they're moving money around. So I'm going to talk about all that as well. But it's not as easy to go through it as everybody would think. It's pretty wild, to be totally honest with you. And my eyes are watering. I got to give my eyes a little wipe-a-rooney here because of this weather. It has been brutal. Wow. From totally dry on Wednesday, there's nothing, to 14 inches of snow. That's what I got in my driveway. And I shoveled yesterday. I was out there 3 times shoveling. Totally bizarre and wacky. 14 hours of snow, 1 inch an hour. And when you woke up, there was like 6 inches on the ground. Went out and got that. Took care of that, and we look out today, and it's not a bad day out there, although they're calling for more snow later on this afternoon. I'll be out there again, 17 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning when I got up. And, barometer reading of 2903, 62% humidity. The barometer reading is steady, so it's hanging tough. It's going into more of a high pressure, because yesterday it was like 2844, so it's really low. That's why we got that storm. So now that you've had a taste of real winter, everybody, are you going to listen to me and get your car over to my sponsor, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop? Yesterday, there were so many people stuck. Niagara 411. I couldn't even talk about all the accidents and stuff. That's, people are crazy. And even today, I came out and the roads are terrible out here today. It would be very easy to get into a wreck, very easy to break down. And you got to stand out in this stuff. It's not much fun. So what you got to do, get your car to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Say, Ken Hunter, put my car in your diagnostic equipment. Please make sure it's running A1 so I don't break down in this crap. Please. And that's what Ken's going to do. He's going to go over your car, top to bottom, front to back, make sure it's running great. And if you happen to get in a wreck in this kind of weather, you know what you got to do? Take it to Ken. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. He has a full body shop. He'll take your car in with a little ding-ding or a major collision, and he'll send it back to you in showroom condition. That's what you want from an auto body person. So there you go. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You should be there. You should get your winter tires on. You should get everything done to your car you need now, because we're going to get more of this. You know that. We only have 6 weeks of winter left. That's it. Once we get into March, everything's okay. So now's the time that you want to get your car in and get it checked out. On Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership, wildbillsauto.ca is where you go to see the services he provides. And while you're there, hop over to YouTube. Look up my channel, Paul Lemire 4973. Subscribe to the channel. We have over 200 subscribers now. We jumped 200 by Christmas like I wanted to. Subscribe. It costs you nothing. You're going to get a notification when I drop another video, and I usually drop my videos by about 3 in the afternoon every day, Monday through Friday. You can see what's going on in the city, see what's going on around the world. More important, see what's going on with city council. That's what I'm mostly talking about now, because we have an election this year. We want to get more people than 27% out. We want to get a lot of people out. We want people involved. That's what this show's all about, getting involved, knowing what you're doing, and not getting the best council city money can buy, getting the best council that'll help you, the taxpayer. And take it from me, the 27% who voted this council in, they're the ones who probably need something. They get out and vote. We don't want them to be controlling our city council. We want the citizens of Niagara Falls, the hardworking taxpayers, We want them controlling who sits on city council and makes the decisions for us. Get out and vote when it comes, but stay tuned to this channel because we're going to talk about that all. And now my second sponsor is Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. I will get to them halfway through the show when we hit the half hour. So let's get some house cleaning done before we do anything else. Now, number one is Meteor Crater News. I told you guys I'd keep you up on what's going on in the Meteor Crater. I'm watching it right now. There's a bobcat over there. They're digging crap up. They've dug up a bunch of stumps and trees and logs. They're loading them. And you know, when I came by, I smelt an oily smell. I smelt an oily smell, you know. So, you know, the thing that's contaminated over there, that's what they say it's okay, but you get that oily smell when you go there. And if Gary Wilkins and Mike Cushman were here right now, they'd be videotaping these guys digging. And I'm not sure exactly what they're up to. They got the bobcat. They got this big truck in there that's picking up all these old branches and stumps and everything they dug up. And there is a weird smell coming out of there right now. I don't know what it is. I'm not a microbiologist or anything like that, but I have a nose and I can smell, and that smells a little bit petroleum-like. Number two, operations budget numbers. Now, Al McCabe from the Properties Taxpayers Alliance was supposed to come in today, but it's a PD day for the kids. He wanted to spend the day with his daughter. Hey, God bless him. Good for him. There should be more fathers like that out there. So good for him. He was going to come in on Monday, but I forgot, like a big dummy. I forgot that Monday is City Council Agenda Review Day because Tuesday is the City Council meeting. So he's not going to be in on Monday or Tuesday. We might see him later on in the week. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We have till February 5th to get him in there regarding the regional budget and what's going on. The regional budget's going to be finally, once and for all, we hope, decided by February 5th. So he'll be in here before that, I'm sure. And we'll get down to brass tacks as far as that goes. And we'll get him talking about what's on the horizon for, excuse me. I get in here and it's dry. Nobody believes me, but every time. For regional amalgamation and that kind of thing, what he sees, and also the mandate of council to hold the budgets down for us and make it easier on the taxpayers. So we'll talk about all that when he comes in, and he will be in. It's just things are going on right now. It's very, very busy with the city operations budget. City council meetings. There's one this week and one next week to deal with the budget. They have a meeting, I believe, on Monday to get instructions about the operations budget. They're going to lay down the law, the rules. So lots going on. Everybody's busy, and yeah, we still have a couple more weeks to deal with the budget. I'm going to be going into it more. Now, talking about regional council, she's back. Barb Greenwood is going to end up being appointed probably tonight. The counselor that's going to jump into the chair left vacant by Bob Gale when he was appointed chairman of the Niagara Regional Government, Regional Niagara. So she's going to be back. She just missed last time in the last election. She had 114 votes, less than Bob Gale. Bob Gale was the last one to get in. She's next up in line. So she jumps into that seat, Barb Greenwood. And she's not going to be there long, probably, because the election's coming up in October. So she might get a good 7 or 8 month run at it. And she never got elected last time. So she may not get elected again this time. We'll see. We'll see if she even runs. She might not even run after being defeated the last time. But she's there for now. Congratulations. They stepped her up. Okay, let's get into the operations budget for 2026. There's a lot to go through here, so you're going to have to pay attention. Or not, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to be talking about it. And these are just my opinions. I went through the numbers. I'm going to talk about them as I see them. So you might not agree with me. You might think I'm whacked, which a lot of people do. But this is just my opinion. My thing to you, every single one of you, whether you agree with me or not, go through it yourself. See what they're giving to you. See what's happening with your money. There's a millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars involved here. You should look at it yourself because it's your money they're spending, baby. That's it. So I'll tell you what I can see. I found some efficiencies that I think could happen if our counselor wants to. I have a lot of questions. I don't have a lot of answers because it's very, very tough to get through. There's a lot of sleight of hand, a lot of money transferred between different kinds of reserve funds. It's mired. The budget is mired in reserve funds. And remember, out of 196 pages, the budget book is actually 400 plus pages. And I only see 196. So I'm bringing my questions forward based on what I see. Yeah, I can't drill down. I'm missing 300 pages here, 200 pages. So the counselors get to see that. So hopefully, if I'm noticing it on this reduced level, they're noticing it on an expanded level. And I'm anticipating that out of 8 counselors, we should get a lot of people standing up and asking questions. And we should get a lot of people that are finding efficiencies. If they really go through it, I get the feeling most of them will just be raising their hands, go along to get along. That's the council we have. That's what they've proven over the last 4 years. I don't see it being any different on January 27th. Maybe they had an epiphany. Who knows? But I'm certainly going to talk about it. Now, because it's a follow the money thing, it gives these bean counters a lot of leeway. And they use creative accounting to get where they want to get. We see bare bones, so it's hard for us to really, really go through it. I looked at all the explanations. They explain a lot of stuff, what they did to explain, deficiencies and that kind of thing. But it's very, very hard to see what they're actually doing. There's just so many reserve funds in that. So if you want to go through it, you can. It's there right at niagarafalls.ca. Look up 2026 operations budget. I think it's called the mayor's proposed levy and operations budget or something. But you can get it. Now, first you want to start with pages 4, 5, and 6. They give you an overview of the operations budget. You'll see that this year they want to run a $4.776 million deficit. And let's round it up. $4.777 million deficit, and that means that we pay. And that's where our 6% comes from, that we're going to get the increase. So we're going to go through these pages and figure it all out here. Page 4 seems to be lax on getting money from other levels of government. It says there's only $647,706 listed under revenue from grants and that kind of thing. And that doesn't seem like a lot. So either it's somewhere else in those 196 pages, or I just missed it, but that's all they've got in the ledger, the actual overall ledger. So I don't know what I'm missing out on. I'm not quite sure, but I don't see it anywhere. And I also noticed that the squirrel, our CFO, financial officer, chief financial officer, Tiffany Clark is her name. I call her the squirrel because she loves to squirrel money away, has entered $18 million as casino revenue, a jump of $4 million from her accounting over the last 5 years or so. She always said the casino funds weren't guaranteed, so she was reluctant to put them in the operations budget as revenue. And she didn't want to put any more than $14 million in. All of a sudden, bang, she wants to put it in there. Now, to me, that's suspicious right there. Why all of a sudden? And her reasoning was it's always been there. It was just in reserve funds. And that may be. But when you don't put it as revenue in the ledger and you put it away in a reserve fund, right? Then that means that revenue side of the ledger is 4 million short. When we come up with a deficiency, the taxpayers pick up the tab, put that 4 million in, and we don't have a deficiency. The budget is balanced. Our tax increase is zero. So now all of a sudden she's putting it in, and yet we still owe close to $5 million, which means that the deficit this year is $9 million, because she put the 4 million in this time, and we're still 5 million down. So where did that money go? And this is what I mean by creative accounting. Probably what happened, the only thing I can see what happened is there's a lot of people complaining about, why is she only putting 14 million in instead of the 18 million we get? So she put it in there to shut everybody up and then just blew the money somewhere else. That's the only explanation for it. That's the only explanation. Put it in there to show it, took it out in some reserve fund or put it somewhere else. I don't know. But it makes a big difference when it's in there. If they would have put it in last year and our deficit was 4 million and they put that in, we wouldn't have had a tax increase at all. This year they put it in and they just jumped it somewhere else. And that's why I call it creative accounting. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So the squirrel claims she just moved the 4 million allocated to reserves before, and that accounted for it. But no, it's not. It's different. When you put it in after the fact, after you figure out your balance sheet, that gives you a deficit. If you put it in before and include it in revenue, then that gives you a balanced budget. That's what we're looking for here. We are looking for the expenses to equal revenue without taking any money from the taxpayers, without taking out loans, by using some other method. And the only other way is to increase user fees for development charges or whatever you want to raise user fees. So we're pulling $26 million out of reserves, which is 1.4 million more than last year. So what are our reserves? Uh-oh. Police just went by and turned on his lights. Woo, 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 woo. He's after somebody. We got a takedown going on Chrysler Avenue here. So, what's the $26 million part of? Is it the balance left over from the Niagara Regional Broadband Service? And this is the problem. When you see these numbers, you go, what is it? Where'd they get that $26 million from out of reserves? We don't know. Now over to page 5, software costs are really astounding, like $5 million, up from 4.2 million last year. And as we go through the ledger, I'm going to see if I can find out what happened to it. But I have to think that if our software costs are that high and we're using that much technology to do a lot of things at City Hall, why are we still hiring people? Why aren't we contracting the government? Because software costs and new software, the reason we're getting them is to streamline government. So that means if they're spending 5 million on this, there's got to be efficiencies. We can't be spending 5 million and then hiring $5 million worth of staff, Sunshine Live staff, to be able to run it. It doesn't make sense to have it. Technology is supposed to make things run easier and user friendly and that kind of thing, to get rid of people. It's supposed to replace people, technology, not hire more people to run the technology. That's an exercise in futility. But yet here we see $5 million for software costs this year, up almost $1 million from last year. So that needs an explanation. That needs an explanation right there. Pages 11 to 19. We're getting through it. There's 196 pages. Hopefully I can make it today. If not, I'll continue it on Tuesday. So we have all these committees that collectively cost taxpayers $155 million. My question is, why do we need these committees? Why do we need these committees? We have the Recreation Committee, Culture Committee, Park and the City Committee, Mayor's Accessibility Advisory Committee, Senior Advisory Committee, DEI Committee, Anti-Racism Committee, and Heritage Committee. Do we need any of these? Seriously, do we need any of these? Right there's a savings of $155,000. Get rid of all the committees. We don't need all these committees. Seriously. And somebody will say, no, they're just money wasters. I mean, we got to find savings somewhere. And these committees to me are just, come on, Senior Advisory Committee, DEI Committee. Give me a break. DEI's gone the way of the dodo. We work in a meritocracy. The most qualified people get the job, not DEI. That causes nightmares. We got to get rid of this crap. Page 22, Niagara District Airport, $478,664. Fees for service, it's called. Now, there is no breakdown, so we have no idea what we are spending close to $500,000 are here. Are there efficiencies? I don't know, because we don't know what they're spending it on. And this is the kind of stuff that may be in the expanded ledger that counselors get. And they have to be the ones to sit down and say, what is this? Why are we spending $500,000? And hey, there might be a good explanation. It might be all legit. Everything might be good. But we might be spending $300,000 too much. And you don't want to pick on these things, but the bottom line is hundreds of thousands add up to millions. Your parents told you, watch your pennies and your dollars will take care of themselves. And that's the same thing with city council. Watch your hundreds of thousands and the $180 million will take care of itself. So yeah, that's a question I have, and there's no answer to it. Page 23, the library, costing us $6 million, up from $5.7 million last year. Why is the library costing us $6 million a year? This is an ongoing problem we have. Every year they come to us and they want more and more money. Now it's $6 million. There's got to be efficiencies there somewhere. There has to be. And I know people want the library. I don't disagree with having a library services. There's some people who just can't afford computers or don't have access to computers and that kind of thing. So the library does provide a valuable service, but at what price? $6 million. That right there is around, at 700,000 each. It's around, maybe 8 points on our tax bill. Yeah, it's 8 points, right? 9 points, maybe 10, almost 10 points, really. So there you go. It costs a lot to run it. I think we have to really, really take a look and see exactly where this is and do a deep dive on it. And I know everybody's reluctant to touch the library. There's so many things that people are reluctant to touch, but you know what? At the end of the day, taxpayers deserve to know why. And not just because we need it. No, why? Like, what are they overstaffed? I know last time I looked, their ratio with wages and that are like 70%, which is, I think, exceedingly high for any business. But, I guess for a library, a public service, maybe it isn't. But these are questions that you want to ask. You just don't want to rubber stamp this stuff. You want to ask. Page 26, doctor recruitment, $500,000. Did we recruit any doctors? No. And we've upped the ante, I think, to $100,000 if we decide to set up shop here. I haven't heard of any recruitment over the last year, so where did last year's money go? There was $400,000. And now they're going to add another $500,000 to it? Why not just use the $400 from last year and add to it during the year if we need it, because we never even spent our last year money? Now we got $900,000 in there for 9 doctors, and we're not going to get any doctors this year. So next year we'll have 900,000 plus another $500,000. I mean, come on. They find money like crazy, this council. They spent $10 million over their budget in the 2025 capital budget. $10 million more than they actually approved. You mean to tell me you can't find $500,000? Why does this have to be in this budget? I would say that's a savings of $500,000. Just don't put it in this year. Let's spend it as we need it. In other words, hire 4 doctors at $100,000 each with the $400,000 we have left over before you start putting more money into it. Unless they know something that we don't, that they've got doctors on the hook that are coming. Okay, well, if that's the case, let us know. Let us know. We got a bunch of doctors in the mill, and I think they're going to sign up, so we're going to need that money. Don't just put it in there and then just not use it and let it sit. Well, we're picking up the tab at 6% for the city budget. Page 27, policing. And this is the Special Casino Patrol, which to me is baloney. Will any counselor stand up and say no to this extortion? Stay tuned. Savings $3.24 million. So there's another $3.24 million we could save if somebody would stand up and say no. What are they going to do? Not patrol Niagara Falls or something? We already give them the lion's share of $240 million they want. Come on. This is crazy. Page 34, $700,000 for the 3rd year in a row to the Innovation Hub. I explained the Innovation Hub to you last time, and I call it the Make Work program for Jim's friends. I mean, to me, no. They don't show their books. They don't account for anything. They come into a city council meeting begging for money, and they tell you the great things they're doing and how successful it is. Well, if it's so successful, pay for your own. Pay it yourself. I think most of that money goes to wages, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, no, that's a big no. No money until we see the books. Savings $700,000 this year with a question mark. Show us the books. We give you the money if the books are in line. Why won't they show the books? You don't show the books, you don't get the money. Bottom line, got to be tougher. Got to be tougher. The city council's got to be tougher. They cannot rubber stamp this money. Right now, we're at 8 million. We're at 4 million, and $4.5 million already we've saved here if we do what we're supposed to do. Page 35, the redundant small business enterprise center. What is the Innovation Hub for? If the Innovation Hub is to economic development, why do we have the Innovation Hub if we have an economic development division and we have a small business enterprise center? Why do we have all these things? So if we have the Innovation Hub, why do we need the small business enterprise center? Don't they do that? Why do we have these two? They get $228,000. Now the provincial, they get I think $328,000, something like that. But the provincial government kicks in $228,000 of that money. So sure, let them run on $228,844 for the grant, but taxpayers shouldn't throw a dime into this. And that's another $148,000 of savings. And let's see, $148,844 of savings. So what are we up to now? $4.5 million? Okay, great. That brings us to a 0 tax increase. I've done it in 35 pages. Oh, there's more. Number page 41, fire department, $32,076,313. No, $32,076,313, up from $31,206,459 in 2025, a $1.2 million increase this year. I've said this a million times. You know how I feel about the fire department. We need a full review of the fire department to find out exactly what we need in this city as far as fire services go. And I just think that we're wasting a lot of money to do things that can be done better and cheaper. I still haven't. I still don't know what they've done. Where's the savings? We're supposed to save $1.5 million on this dispatch. They said they were sending it over to St. Catharines. Where is it? I didn't see it in this budget. And I think if an honest review was done of the fire department and their budget, I think there's $5 million of savings there. I really, really do. And I'm talking about salaries, wages, and that kind of thing as we move more towards a medical system rather than a fire system. Fire calls for fires are very, very low. Maybe not even 1% of the calls that the fire department gets. Most of them are medical emergencies, which tells me we need more EMS and less firefighters. And EMS come in at probably half the price of firefighters. There's a lot of money to be saved here if we truly, honestly took a look at the fire department and figure out exactly what we need in this city. And I know everybody's going to get mad at me. The fire department is sacrosanct, but times are tough. We have to find efficiencies, and every department has to be able to be looked at. We can't set one department aside and say they're above reproach, they're above reviewing. Now, yeah, hey, if you want to pay more taxes every year, you want to give them $1.5 million a year, go ahead. That's why we vote. I don't, and I don't think most taxpayers do. They like to see a zero increase. Well, the way you see a zero increase is making sure every department is running efficiently. And you can't do it if you won't review it. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to save $5 million. Actually, they might find out, hey, we got to spend another $1 million. But that's fine. At least we'll know. Right? Knowledge. But you're not going to do it if you don't do any reviews. Halfway through the show, I don't think we're going to make it through all the pages. We're going to give it a try. I'm going to get to my second sponsor first, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Let's do that, and then we're going to get into page 46, Fire Communication Service. And this is another thing. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. If you want a great pizza, you want consistency. And I showed you that menu on yesterday's show, 3-page foldout. They have so much stuff on it, you can't even read it. But the one thing I can tell you, they have great pizza because they use the Mancini family recipe for the sauce and the crust. They have great wings because they know how to cook chicken wings right. Great steak and cheese sub. Great steak and cheese poutine, regular poutine, fries, panzerotti, chicken parm sandwiches. You cannot go wrong with Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And now they have a new location for the northwest part of Niagara Falls. And from my buddy Tony Nero, he says you order from there and it's as good as the one on Victoria Avenue. And it should be. It's the same owners. They use the same beautiful recipes. They know how to make a pizza. They know how to cook it. They're the good guys. They're the good guys in Niagara Falls. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, 905-374-2222. Get your fresh, hot pizza today. They use Dine. They use Skip. Don't worry about it. You're going to get it. It's going to be hot with fresh toppings. It's a winner. It's a winner. And speaking of phone numbers, I have this little baby right here. So we're halfway through the show. Still lots of time. 289-994-7560. 289-994-7560. That will get you a text message to this phone. Don't call. I can't answer it because you won't get on mic. Just text. Text me what you have to say. Questions, I'll answer them. Comments, I'll put them on air. Whatever. That's the number. 289-994-7560. Okay. Let's move on. Page 46, Fire Communication Services. I just talked about that a second ago. $891,404. Why is this still in the operating budget? I thought it was decided to move to St. Catharines for good. And here it is again, popping up in front of me, just tempting me to go crazy, but I'm not going to go crazy. All I'm going to say is there's a $1.5 million savings if it has gone over there. Where is it? It doesn't look like we're going to see that this year because for some reason it hasn't been moved yet. And that's dismaying because it was already voted to be moved. They already said yes. What's the holdup? Savings 1.5 million. There's another 1.5 million. What are we at now? 5.5 million? Yeah. I think we're at 5.5 million of efficiencies. And you know what? I'm going to break the capital budget record because I found 5.7 million of efficiencies there. I'm going over that. We're going over, baby. We're going over. Page 51, Human Resources Department, 5.7 million, with labor making up 5.1 million of it. I mean, are you kidding me? Is this department top heavy or what? If I'm reading this right, everybody should be concerned about this. We have a human resources department that sucks $6 million a year from taxpayers, and that's all salaries? Come on. Come on. I think a review of this department is definitely needed. I'm not sure what it would save. I have no idea. But come on, almost $6 million on our human resources. The standard ratio, I looked it up. I looked this stuff up. I just don't look at the numbers and yell about it. A standard ratio for HR to employees is 1 HR per 100 employees. City lists us having 550 full-time employees. Let's call it 1,000 even, with all departments, which means we need 10 HR people, right? One for every 100. Assuming they all make 100,000 a year, sunshine list, which they probably do, that would be $1 million for employees. And benefits running at around 35%, making it a total of $1.350 million to run the department. And on the other expenses, they've got of $300,000, and say we're at $1.7 million. So why is this department costing us $4 million more? I mean, a Doge review of this department is definitely necessary. And if any counselors don't pick up on this and question it, I gotta think they're asleep at the switch. Somebody has to look at this. I mean, this sticks out like a sore thumb. It's a big red mark. Somebody's got to, if they're listening to this show, maybe they could put that question in the special meeting on Monday and say, why? Seriously, there's got to be savings there. There's got to be. I can't believe that we need $5 million of employees to handle our HR department. Page 73, information services cost us $7.8 million, with software eating up 65% of that budget. I mean, I hope somebody starts questioning this software stuff because we don't know what this is. Why is it so expensive? What is it doing as far as contracting government or saving us money? Because to me, it doesn't look like it's saving us a dime. We're blowing all this money, and then we're not seeing any savings. Oh, there's efficiencies. Well, efficiencies are great, but what is it saving us? These efficiencies. Are we out there spending more money to make stuff more efficient than it's even saving us? If it costs us 10 million to save $1 million, is that a good expenditure of our money, taxpayer dollars on this? I mean, these are questions that should be asked. They really, really are. Page 77, system support and continuity summary, $532,000. I have no idea what this is, and I have no problem with it until I find out what it is. Can somebody please tell me what this is? Can somebody on city council stand up and ask the question, what the hell is a continuity system support and continuity summary? And once again, we see system support. To me, that means money. That means money. More money. $532,000 more money, almost a point off our taxes. Page 79, legal services. Now, I have no problem paying our legal beagle, our mouthpiece, a good buck to go to bat for the city. But why are we paying another $450,000 for contracted services when we're already paying a legal team $1 million a year to deal with problems? Why are we spending another $450,000? I don't know what it's for. I don't know why we need it if we have a legal team we're paying $1 million to. Please, somebody ask that question. That could be a savings right there. Do we need $450,000 of consulting and contracted services for our legal team? Why can't our lawyers handle it? Well, I don't know. Somebody better ask the question, though, when they see that. I'm going through this pretty in detail. You think counselors are going to do that? What do you think out there? You think they're going through it like I am? I hope they are. That's their job. We're paying them $35,000 a year to do this. I get paid nothing. I don't get paid to do this. I'm just stupid. 83 and 84, pages 83 and 84. I don't understand. We're showing a surplus of $107.5 million revenue versus expenses. So does this refer to? A surplus of $107.5 million. I don't get it. What's it referring to? It's there. The number's there. What is it? And this is my problem. I don't have access to the expanded things. So somebody's going to have to look through it on city council, one of our counselors, and they're going to have to tell us, or at least be satisfied that that money is accounted for properly and what it is. Page 91, taxation payments in lieu. And I was really, really surprised that the Parks Commission is only paying $1.2 million of taxes in lieu of paying property taxes. Seriously, I think this should be revisited. Think about it. Every single car and person that visits the Parks Commission has to use city streets to get there. The wear and tear of 14 million people per year causes more than $1.2 million to be spent on city roads, in repairs, in rejuvenation. It just hammers the roads. And we're only getting compensated $1.2 million? I don't know. That number seems low. I think somebody should look at it, the mayor. Somebody should be looking at this and figuring it all out. That just doesn't seem to be a lot. 1.2 million for the number of people that go and use the Parks Commission and use our city streets to get there. I mean, start putting toll barriers up and charging people to use our streets to get there. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem like a lot. Maybe they can explain it. Maybe they can explain why it isn't 5 million or 4 million. The Parks Commission, it makes a lot of money and they use our streets to do it. 1.2 million doesn't seem like a heck of a lot, does it? Okay, so 4 to 5 cars. I did some math. 4 to 5 car, four to a car, 4 people to a car equals 3.5 million cars coming into the city every year. Divide the number of cars into the amount the parks gives us, the 1.2 million, and that's like 34 cents a vehicle. 34 cents a vehicle. Why not up that to $1 a vehicle? Redo the calculation. That'd be $3.5 million a year. Revenue is like savings. So the anticipating return of the new deal would be 2.3 million. So that's as good as saving 2.3 million, getting it. So there's another 2.3 million. What are we at now? 5.7. We're at 8 million. I got up to 8 million with this new idea. On the same page, Ontario Lottery and Gaming, 3.793 million for 2026. That's really low. And I don't know why it's an entry in the ledger. I don't get it. I know they're projecting 2026 revenue, But why would they already projected 18 million? So what's this? 3.793 million for 2026. That would only be taken into account one quarter. But we've already added $18 million. Is this over and above the $18 million we put in there? I don't get it. That makes no sense at all. Somebody's got to question that number right there, Ontario Lottery and Gaming, because it looks like to me they've done some creative accounting here. There's something jiggy going on over here because we've already put in 18 million. That's that's what we're predicting for 2026. Yet they've got it on that same page, another 3.793 million. Doesn't work. Something's wrong there. Please, somebody ask about it. Page 95, municipal accommodation tax. Somebody please explain this to me. We have 9.2 million, a substantial amount of money coming in. We are sending it to external transfer Mont, 8.1 million, whatever that is. Capital special purpose, 250,000. Special purpose reserve, 895,000. Total revenue from the MAT is 9.5 million, of which 350,000 goes to city operating fund operations, and the balance is being sent to three aforementioned services: capital special purpose reserve, and Mont, 8.1 million. What the hell is Mont? Please explain. Please explain what Mont is. I want to know what Mont is. MONT. I don't know. I have no idea what 8.1 million of that municipal accommodation tax is going towards. Whatever Mont is it some kind of a marketing? I don't know. They don't explain it. They just put this MONT there, and they expect us to look at this, the public, and figure it out. No, come on, quit using these letter things. And tell us what it is. I wish it said Paul, and then it'd be going to me. That would be good. I would be able to explain that. Page 132 to 137, Parks and Athletic Fields Summary. This is a tough one. Only 148,500 of revenue versus $4.1 million of expenses, with user fees coming in at 109,000. I think it really is time to really realize that we need our user fees to cover the cost of maintaining these parks. We are running a $3.9 million deficit. Divide that by 700,000. That's about 5.5% that we have to cough up for other people using these services. How do we correct this problem? Because if we correct it, there's $3.9 million of savings. Even if we correct half of it, it's $1.6 or $7 million of savings, almost 2 million. So we have to find a way to balance this out. User fees versus expenses. There's only a few ways to do it. We have to cut expenses, which means getting rid of people, or we have to increase user fees. Whoever uses it pays for it. If we don't, then we got to chip in. That's the bottom line. But right there, somebody should be looking at that and saying, "Hey, how can we make this better?" Because that's just crazy. We're taking in 148,500 of revenue versus $4.1 million of expenses. You talk about top heavy. And of the 148,500 in revenue, only 109,000 is user fees. We got to do something with that. Okay, pages 144 to 147, municipal enforcement, running at $1.84 million deficit. The fines and the fees do not cover expenses. Why? Why? At the very least, the program has to pay for itself. If we didn't have it, say we didn't have municipal enforcement, we just got rid of it. The cost would go down to zero, right? So we'd have zero expenses. So whatever fees we get, people who pay the fines and all that, whatever we can collect, we collect. Right now, we're running at a $2 million deficit. That's not right. We can't keep running these deficits. It's crazy. And for people not to be taking a look at this seriously, I mean, $1.84 million deficit, that's like almost 3% on the taxes. I mean, we can't keep running this. We got to figure out a way to do this like more efficiently, whether it's through software or something. But I mean, there's $1.8 million of savings right there if we can figure it out. And is anybody going to even ask the question? I doubt it. That's all right. They're running a deficit. Big deal. Want to try to fix it? Nah, nobody says anything about it anyway. Right? They'll approve everything we do. Don't worry about it. That's the way it works, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, because we see this time after time. Page 159 to 171, Recreation Program Summary. Once again, we see a top-heavy department gobbling up any user fees, federal grants and provincial grants. Revenues are $1.4 million organically. Another $300,000 being thrown in from reserves. But the expenses double the revenue, coming in at a whopping $3.63 million. $2.3 million is labor and benefits. 70%. How can we possibly balance a budget when we have these discrepancies? It's a common theme throughout the operations budget. What needs to be done is we have to lessen the differential in these departments. And the only way for the programs to pay for themselves means that user fees increase and employees are cut back. Even running the farmers market loses money. How can we run how can we lose money on running the farmers market? I mean, this has to be fixed. We're not charging enough. And I said this before in one of the shows, what we're charging is too low. It's like $400 for a season. I mean, come on. $400 is probably what they recover the first week we open. And then the rest of the season is free. No, they should be paying 25 or $30 a week, which would put us at 120 a month for 4 or 5 months. I mean, whatever. I mean, come on. We have to be realistic with these. Oh, well, if you charge them too much, they won't come. Well, if we don't have it, we save money. Well, how can we run programs we're losing at? We got to break even. And this is a common theme. Is the city running a charity or are we running a business? I think every city councilor has to sit there and ask themselves, what are we running here? If this is a charity, that's one thing. We don't get to write it up. We're not a nonprofit. We don't get subsidized by the government if we fall short 10 million. No government agency subsidizes us, so taxpayers get a zero increase. Anything less than what we need to cover costs, we pay. The farmers market loses money, but those farmers don't. They're making all kinds of money. We have to up fees for these people. And if they don't want to come, they don't come. They're costing us money. We're paying them to come here. If we're going to do that, just give them the booths for free. Take a percentage of their gross revenue. We probably make more money. Every week they're there. They got to turn in their sales, and we get 10, 20% of it or something. I mean, come on. We got to find a better way to deal with this. We can't have a farmer's market and pay the farmers to come here, because that's what we're doing. Taxpayers are paying the farmers to come here. They're making all kinds of money over the summer, and we pay them to come here. That doesn't make sense. If it don't make sense, it don't save us dollars. Page 172 to 177, we're almost through. Civic Facilities Services Summary. This is basically running all our buildings, and really, the revenue just isn't there. The Wayne Thompson buildings used to get $75,000 from the Niagara Regional Broadband. Since we sold that, we don't get that revenue anymore. That money's gone. I mean, this Civic Facilities Services Summary is just the cost of running a city and cannot make any money. Although I'm wondering in the City Hall report why we're not seeing revenue from the weddings. That was one thing missing from a line item, the weddings. They were going to charge up the rate to $750 for a wedding. They're bragging about doing all these weddings. Where's the money? I don't see anything entered for that as revenue. I mean, we spent what? I think we spent $150,000, $200,000 to make it beautiful in front of City Hall for the wedding. They have weddings, these arches and everything else. Where's the money? And the one that really gets me is the EV stations at the Wayne Thompson building. Council had a big push to install these EV stations, and they want to install more at $120,000 a copy. We just saw $4 million allocated in the capital budget. They're costing us $44,800 to run. I know it's not much, but the capital cost to put them in, $100,000, $120,000 each if they're the quick charge stations, about $20,000 if they're just regular. So there's the capital cost. How are we going to make it back if we're only getting $4,800 a year in revenue? I mean, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. How can we run everything at a loss? Who's running this show? You know why? Because when they run at a loss, they don't care. Because you're going to make it up, and I'm going to make it up. And all you people out there listening are going to make it up. That's why. 178, 179, or to 87, page 180, 178 to 187. Recreational services summary. Doesn't get better with our recreation department. We take in $2.1 million of revenue and spend $10 million. 30% of that money spent on wages and benefits. Our debt charges, interest and principal on loans for the locations cost us another 30%. Once again, user fees cannot keep up with our expenses. They are falling behind every year. What's the solution? If the city doesn't expect people who use it to pay the way. Deficits on taxpayers. We subsidize people to use our services. I mean, I don't use them. Why am I paying anything? We got to get out of this thing that we're giving everybody everything. It's part of civic response. It isn't. It isn't. Those were the days when everybody had a lot of money. Everybody was working. Everybody was contributing. The city had a lot of money. We don't have that anymore. Bob Gill told you, they're broke. The region's broke. All cities are broke. Everybody's broke. When we can give amenities away and we have lots of money, that's fine. But now times are tough, and we have to really look at this. How can we get $2.1 million of revenue and spend $10 million? That's $8 million difference, which means divided by 700,000, that's 11%, 11.5% of our budget. That's why we're paying taxes. I don't know what the answer is, but there should be a review of the department to see what they really need. Definitely. Anyone that's running an $8 million deficit has to have a review and see if it's right or not. I don't know. Page 188 to 196, Museum and Culture Services Summary. The exchange is really killing taxpayers. This white elephant, and I've been yelling about it for 3 years, It ran 3 years over the build time frame and $5 million over budget. It's a dead horse, and taxpayers keep feeding it. The revenue from all events was a mere $397,628, not even enough to cover the salaries of the people who work at the exchange, which themselves came in at 3 times the revenue, $101.6 million expected for 2026. And they're being optimistic regarding revenue, which only came in at $231,620 for 2025. They're estimating $400,000, but the reality is, in 2025 they took in $231,000. So they're projecting another couple $100,000 here, $250,000. Where they're getting it from, I don't know. That's what they're projecting. But you know what? That's fine. They'll project it, and when it doesn't come to fruition, it'll be in some other obsolete ledger next year, and nobody will know the difference. Put it in there. They'll never remember it. People are stupid. They'll never figure it out. Well, there it is, sitting right in front of your eyes. What does this mean? Well, expenses total $3.545 million, $340,000 almost more than in 2025, leaving taxpayers on the hook for $3,555,536. $3 million it's costing us. 4% on the budget. It's a white elephant. It cost $17 million. The city had to loan the money, and carrying charges per year alone are $727,000. $727,000 just to pay for the loan and interest. That doubles the money generated. The interest and principal doubles the money generated. We can't even pay interest and principal on the loan we took out with the money that generates the exchange. Seriously, folks, somebody's got to look into this. This is a white elephant. I'm telling you, take the exchange, turn it into a medical exchange, take that $900,000, refurbish some offices in there for doctors, get them here, give them a turnkey business they don't have to spend a dime for. John Ringobeam knows about this. He told me about it. They're doing it in Simcoe. It's time to stop the insanity with the exchange. It's over. We need to generate money from that. We can't keep paying it. It's been a mistake since day one. We have to face the facts and correct the mistake. This city council won't do it. I know they won't. Arts and culture will be screaming and everything. But you know what? You want a Philharmonic Orchestra? Get members to sign up and pay for it. You're not going to make it with people coming in to listen. We have to get better at this business of city council. We have to get better because taxpayers are sick and tired of it. Overall, I think we have to contract government at all levels. We really do need a review of what is really needed to run the city. As we expand our Sunshine List employee roster, we fall farther behind. The use of AI and millions worth of technology is supposed to replace workers, run the city more efficiently, more smoothly, processes streamlined. But that doesn't appear to be what's happening with the city of Niagara Falls. That's what we were promised by the Penguin. We never got it. And he keeps saying, in the future, and you know what? We're broke by the time the future comes. We're tired of it. Now, not to pick on any one department, because there's lots of them. The planning department, whose $2.3 million deficit is composed of salaries and wages. I mean, this has to be closely looked at to ensure we're getting the most bang for the taxpayer buck out of these people. We're not overpopulated in any department. Sometimes, when taxpayers are footing the bill, the theme is to do less with more, rather than do more with less. And doing more with less reduces the burden on the people that pick up the tab. That's us, the taxpayers. Our building department runs a $3.8 million deficit, with 99% of it being salaries and benefits. Software and technology expenses are huge, and they're supposed to offset the costs to relieve those departments due to streamlining. But that doesn't appear to be the case, as the numbers of employees have increased, not decreased, for these expenses. I think many departments that appear to be top heavy need a review immediately. The fire department being the biggest one. If we are to have a great city, expenses have to be brought into line. User fees have to be realistic to offset expenses, and council has to penny pinch. Times are tough. We have to do better for the taxpayers. There are efficiencies that could be found. I found 10 or 15 million. If council has the resolve to find efficiencies and insist that staff bring them to fruition, but most time council goes along to get along. And that does the taxpayers no good. Will council go through all these pages and find efficiencies? Will they push back at staff, at the CAO, Jason Burgess, CFO, Tiffany Clark, or just go through the motions? Well, the only way you're going to find out is to tune in on January 27th when they have the meeting and see what goes down. Right now, I'm not very optimistic. I've seen this council for the last 4 years. I've seen them in action. This is their last budget because the election is coming October 26th, and they will not be sitting in city council as the group we have today. Now, some might be back. We don't know who. We'll have to wait for the election. But this is their last budget as a whole, as a group. And then we'll see what the new council brings in. If it's the same as the old council, well, we know what's going to happen. It's been happening for a long time now. Anyway, that's the review. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I gave you some insight, maybe some food for thought. Maybe you're going to go in there now and look at the budget yourself and say, hey, I found this. I found that. It's like searching for gold. It's like panning for gold. There's nuggets there. And city council should be panning for gold for the taxpayers. But if they can't, we have two options. We do it ourselves and get on their backs about it, or we get rid of them next election and find people who like to pan for gold, who like to find efficiencies, and who like to help taxpayers. That's what it's all about. That's what their job is. That's what their mandate is. Safe streets, clean streets, good streets, good infrastructure, clean water. They have these mandates, and they can't do it without money. It all costs money, but the only way you're going to get that money is to make sure when you sit down at budget time that you deal with needs, not wants. Wants are over there. When times are good, you can have all the wants. What do we really need? What departments are performing or not performing? Where is our money going? That's all taxpayers are asking for. We want to know. Anyway, take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Finally, Friday on Your City, Your Voice. Went through the budget. We'll be talking about it more as the weeks pass here and see what they come up with. Until then, hey, go to niagarafalls.ca, look up and then find the operations budget. Go through it yourself, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, hey, message me, give me a call, whatever you want to do, and we'll talk about it. I'll tell you what I know, which my knowledge is limited because I only get so much information. If you don't want to talk to me, talk to city councilors. They should all know this. They should all know this better than I do. They have more information. Anyway, God bless you all. Please support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Have a great weekend. We're going to get a little bit more snow. You might have to shovel a bit more, but you know what? We're getting closer and closer to the the end of the month. We get more daylight every day, and things are going to be looking up. We're going to get through this winter. We only have 6 weeks left, and we're good to go. Take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Paul K. Lemire, Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from the studios of 4680Q Radio, downtown Niagara Falls. We'll see you on Monday at 12 sharp with the City Council Agenda Review. very, very busy this time of year. Take care.